Some businesses start with an idea, others start with a problem no one else was willing to solve. Today, we're talking to the founder who turned a simple need into a fast growing brand. Welcome to the Glovisor Podcast, where we explore leadership, communication, business growth, and personal development through real conversations with people that make an impact. Our guest today built a company by seeing what others overlooked, a gap in the market, a customer experience that needed to be elevated, and service that could be transformed into something scalable, repeatable, and franchise ready. With a background that blends hands-on experience, business insight, and a deep understanding of what people actually want, Mr. Cappuccino, founder, has taken a simple concept and turned it into a system that's expanding far beyond its first location. Glovisor welcomes Nelson Mendez.
Hello, Joe. Thank you for having me, and very pleased to be with you and your audience.
Oh, pleasure. Looking forward to the conversation.
Let's do it.
So, Nelson, how did this entire journey begin for you?
Well, this is an idea that in Venezuela, where I am from, after 30 years in the hotel and supplies, restaurant equipment and supply business, we had the need to change the field of business. And we installed for Nestle, we installed 962 machines, Nescafe machines, in 5 years. And that was the beginning of, a new field of work that we did, and we travel every year to Italy to know new manufacturer, new products of coffee, milk, whatever the industry needs. And when we decided to move to the United States, we saw a niche, in the Hispanic and Latin market that they used to have a different product. So we specialize in espresso coffee. That's the main idea that we had from Venezuela and also from Italy, because it burned also right there.
Now, for people who don't know much about coffees, what's an espresso? How is that different than coffee?
Okay, well, the espresso coffee is when you grind the bean, the grind is finer, much finer than the American coffee one. After that, our machine, or the machine, the Italian machine, they put that ground coffee in a piston, and then the machine applies hot water and pressure. Then is how comes the concentrated of the coffee. It's not dripping coffee like the American coffee. It's a pressure brew coffee. So that's why it comes the shot. That shot has the same quantity of caffeine that an American 20-ounce cup.
Oh, okay. So it's much, much stronger.
Much, much stronger to the taste, okay, and stronger also to mix it with milk to make a cappuccino or macchiato or cafe latte. So that's why we use espresso coffee to make cappuccino.
What sparked the idea that eventually came Mr. Cappuccino?
Well, as I told you, when we decided to move here, that we decided to go in this business, we saw a lack of quality coffee in some activities, like, for example, healthcare. And we saw that when we start making demos in hospital doctor lounge, and when we saw the expression in the face that they put when they try the coffee and they say that machine remains here, then we saw that we have a business in our hands. Okay, so a matter of good quality, consistency. If you have a cappuccino here, or you have it in Denver, or you have it in Boston, then the cappuccino has to be the same quality, and that's part of the system that we offer to our franchisees.
One day you're thinking, okay, I can make the best coffee ever, and I want everybody to have it at these hospitals and these locations. But what was that moment where you're like, okay, you know what? I can do it differently and I can do it better. What was that idea?
Well, that moment was when I started receiving calls from people asking for my service. That was really the moment that I said, we have something great in our hands. So people start, talking about the product and referring our brand.
What made you decide that, let's just say, you wanted to go with Mr. Cappuccino as an option and the options that you wanted to choose? Because I'm sure that's difficult when you're first starting a business and you're trying to bring it to market. You're thinking, do I bring all these options at once or do I just bring a few options? How was that thought process for you?
The point is that our machines automatically make 10 different drinks,
Mm,
and you only need 4 ingredients. The coffee beans, the powder milk is powder milk, real powder milk, especially processed to work in this kind of machine. Not all, not all whole powder milk work in this kind of machine. The chocolate, and we start with the vanilla.
okay.
Okay, only with these 4 ingredients, the machine can make up to 10 different drinks. Like
Mm,
for example, the espresso is just the shot.
mhm,
Our americano is 1 espresso with hot water. The
mhm,
machine does everything. The cafe latte is 1 espresso with milk. The cappuccino, the machine add to that latte a touch of chocolate. A
mm,
mochaccino is a cappuccino with more chocolate.
mhm,
We also have the macchiato, known for the Latins and the Hispanic people like cortado or
mhm,
cortadito
mhm,
also. We can also make hot chocolate
mhm,
for the person that they don't drink coffee, or maybe, in wintertime, in the afternoon, you don't want to have coffee in the afternoon, but you can have a very good hot chocolate.
mhm,
And also the other one that is the vanilla. In this
mhm,
case of the vanilla, lately we have add some trending flavors that people love, especially millennial, Gen Z ladies. That is the matcha
mhm.
green tea latte, and also the chai, the classic chai latte. So depending on the place where we put the machine, then we change that flavor. We could also offer decaf. Maybe in a senior location that they some of they can drink coffee. Maybe we can also offer the decaf. We can have a very good decaf latte.
But before launching the company, what kind of background or experience did you have that helped you understand this industry?
Well, I'm graduated in hotel management in Spain. I work in hotel for 10 years, 5 years in Spain and 5 years in Venezuela. And in 1984, that I was working like a assistant general manager in a hotel in Caracas. I wanted to go up to go to the next step. The next step was general manager, but I was too young. I was too young, and I applied here, applied there. Oh, you're too young. You're too young. Well, then I decided to go by myself, and then I create a hotel and restaurant equipment and supplies that we found in Venezuela in 1984. We start making that line of we call it bath amenities for the hotel.
Mhm,
The little shampoo, the soap, the shower cap, the slipper,
mhm,
all that kind of thing that are customized to the customer.
mhm,
So we have a special line for Intercontinental, for Sheraton, for Hilton, for Radisson, all the international chain that were in that time in Venezuela. So we start with that line. We start importing also equipment. So we equip big hotels, complete new hotels in zero. The room, the kitchen, the laundry, everything that the hotel need. 1998, when the political situation changed a little big in Venezuela, one of my customers, it was my friend. It was an owner of a hotel. He showed me a picture of the Nescafe machine. And he
mhm,
told me, Nelson, I want this machine in my hotel. Short story, I called Nestle. That was a pilot project that they have for Latin America, starting in Venezuela. They told me to talk to a German guy that was importing the machine. This German guy didn't want to leave Caracas. I had offices all around Venezuela. So, we did an agreement that I put machines all around Venezuela, like a third house for Nestle. Okay, I wasn't an employee of Nestle, but my company did the job for Nestle for 5 years, and we installed around 962 Nescafe machines. So
oh, wow.
we travel every year to Italy, to new machine, new models, new manufacturer, new processes and all that. At the beginning, this machine were designed to make 20 coffee per day. In Venezuela, the first one, they did 150 coffee per day. So we have to, hey, listen, change this, change that. This little hole, you have to change it. Change this plastic part, put something, stainless steel or something like that. So we help a little bit to also have this new machine that we have right now.
One of the interesting parts about this is I get to talk to a lot of different business owners, but in your situation, you have the history within the same industry. So this is not a new industry for you. And you've been part of it. So you really know your market, you know where to place them. It's just experience, right? You have to be in the business to understand the business.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
and you have
Correct.
that. And one of the things is that going back to you said that it was a different machine then, and obviously you've improved it to a much better machine. How does it compare now to in the market your machines versus what maybe some competitors?
There are some of them that they also use Italian machine. That it has to be like that. Okay, that's not a secret. But then the difference comes in the product. I don't know. I don't know if saying this or not, but I rather to have the cost a little bit higher, but has a plus quality, and use another kind of product that they doesn't give you the same flavor, the same consistency. I want that everyone that try cappuccino from Mr. Cappuccino say, "Wow, what is this? Amazing, delicious," like they say. So we want to continue with that model.
You decided to go with the franchising style of business versus possibly just building the business and running all these machines yourself instead of franchising. So, what was that aspect that made you decide to go in the franchising direction?
Well, the first thing, the time. I'm not 40, as you can see. My idea always was to expand the business as soon as I can. Okay, I want to be maybe in 5 years selling 300, 400,000 coffee per month. That's my goal. Okay, and doing it by myself with my resources locally here in Central Florida, that will take. I would do it for sure, but that would take more time than the time that I have to make this possible.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, what does the ideal franchisee look like?
This can be a business to anyone. Of course, not everybody likes to sell. Not everybody feel comfortable, talking to people offering a big service. So, that's something, Joe, that is not impossible to learn. The operation will teach you every day things that you will feel more comfortable to do whatever you have to do. We say that, okay, people that feel comfortable in sales. I would say young entrepreneur. I would say people almost to retire, but that they want to have a side business. I would say people already retired that they want to do something.
Mhm,
They want to do something, but not 100%, 7 days a week. Hey, listen, no, this model is different. This can be semi-absentee. Okay, and
mhm,
we can talk about that later. That that's why I say that almost anyone can be a good lead, a good prospect for this business, but they have to understand the business.
mhm.
Okay, possibly that fear that they have to talk to people is only in the beginning, because once you install your machine, you visit them every 2 weeks, so you don't have to talk to anybody. Hey, listen, this is your business. You have to make it known, go to networking events, be member of some kind of chamber of commerce. This is not a business that you buy the franchise and then you sit to wait for the money. No, that's that's not that's not the model.
Basically, anyone who may be interested in the way that I understand it, to be a good networker, to connect with people, but they don't have to consistently be selling because once they have a good relationship with
Exactly.
that location, this is it. They set the machine and it's a little bit of a set it and forget it for a little bit of time.
That's what Mr. Cappuccino did.
Okay.
Because
Yes.
when Mr. Cappuccino goes to any event, Mr. Cappuccino is known. Everybody knows Mr. Cappuccino.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so everybody knows that anyone that needs a coffee machine, hey, call Mr. Cappuccino, because it's part of the system. They do the appointment with the owner, with the decision maker, whatever. Okay, but after that, you have to continue the labor, and that's the labor, to maintain the pipeline full of prospects. Maybe you start one machine in a restaurant, the restaurant closed, you have to one machine to locate in some place. So, and the idea is that you grow the business, that you need more machines. That's the idea, that every month, every 3 months, you buy more machines and new customers and all that. So
So once they join the system, they get all of this, the education, the processes, and
yeah,
also everything that they need. So they don't
everything
have to
that
go anywhere and source anything.
no, they don't have to go anywhere. They only have to go mandatory the training period, 4 days. We have to see everything, marketing, sale, what to sign, what not to sign, what to offer, what not to offer, and the technical part of the machine too.
Mhm.
Okay. In our website, we have a part that say, are you a good fit? One of the question is, are you able to change the gasket or your blender at home? Yes, you are a good fit.
So, a question I do have, going back to something you mentioned, that this would be fitting for young people, this would be good for retired individuals. But if you're fairly young, and we have some listeners that are fairly young, and they're just coming into the job market, and they're thinking maybe having a business is a better opportunity for them than it is to go get a job. Is this something that would work for them?
Definitely yes, because they don't have to be they don't have to be 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m., 5 p.m. The other good thing is that they are going to talk to people. They like to talk to people. It's something that for sure is good for them. And they are young. They have new ideas. Okay, welcome to the new ideas. Welcome to the
Mhm.
innovation. Nelson, please, I need some flavor that is, I don't know, special for whatever.
Mhm.
Okay, let's work on that. Let's work on that.
Sure.
So I think that young people, of course, young people has unlimited potential in this business.
What's the geographic area that you're working with at this moment?
In this moment, we have open Denver market and Florida, of course. We have a big territory here in Florida, and we are opening also. We have signed Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay, great. So anywhere in US right now, it sounds like.
We are ready. We are ready to do franchise everywhere in the United States. Okay,
Everywhere.
we are
Okay,
ready. We are ready to
sure,
go. Ready to go.
sure,
But in some states, we have to do a registration first.
sure. Well,
We're
before
new. We're new, Joe. We're new. We're new franchising. Okay,
yes,
just started last year, so we're still learning. Even for the market shows you many things.
sure.
The market, wow, you learn every day. You learn more about businesses, about what the people want, what the
A
people expect. So I like that. I really like that.
absolutely. Well, and that's the thing, right? All the states are almost like different countries onto themselves because there's such different
Yeah.
communities and,
Yes.
demand. Yes.
Yes, that's correct.
At this juncture, you're available to sell for people who are definitely interested in franchising anywhere in the US. But before I ask you, where does the future of Mr. Cappuccino look like in the future? When do you think that probably is already in your mind Canada might be the future as well?
Yes, why not? Yes,
Mhm.
of course. Why not? Many people in some expos that we go ask about, another countries, and I always say yes, but we have to study each case.
Sure.
We have to study each case. What are the famous tariffs now? And also what product do they have?
Mhm.
Because right now our product comes from Italy.
Mhm.
And the machine is also made in Italy. That's why,
Mhm.
it's a heavy duty machine that can make 200, 300 coffee per day. So depending what they have in that market. So that's something that we have to study each case individually. But yes, we are open to any proposal.
Now, someone contacts you today and they have the market, they're ready to franchise. How long? What's the turnkey for them to get started?
Once the legal process is made, what about that? The FDD that they have 14 days to study, or an attorney and all that. the discovery call, everything that they had to do before the signature, before signing. Once they sign and they do the wire transfer for the amount, in a week they have the machines and the supply. We say that depends how fast they want, but next week we can have the training. So in a week or 10 days, they can start, offering the machine and installing the machine. That's a good thing that once you visit a customer and they say yes, you can install your machine that same day, if that's possible. Okay,
Well,
so you don't have to wait for us to send the machine. No, they have it there. So it's something that we always say 1 to 2 months to start.
right, right.
You don't need a brick and mortar location. You can do it from home. That's another good benefit. Right now, many people does that. Many cities give you the occupational license to do that. Of course, you don't have to. You cannot bring trucks to the house and all that, but you can have a mini storage, rented to get the goods and all that. So that's not a big deal. But the point is that you don't need a city permit for a restaurant that you don't know how long time. So we have many benefits, compared to other kind of businesses that our franchisee have. So they can have they can start making money in 2 months.
Wow, so that's pretty fast. You can be in the business in
Yes,
a month or
it is.
two. Yeah.
Exactly.
And then your franchise doesn't have a requirement for a location, a brick and mortar. You don't have to have one.
No, your
Yeah.
customer have it.
That makes a big difference because you look at some other franchises and different styles, they have these big requirements where they require a storefront or some signage and this and that. And
Employee.
employees, that's right. And all of a sudden you're, 200, 300, $400,000 business and you're like, wow, that's a big investment to lay out and you don't even know if it works.
Right. And talking about that, we also have different levels of investment. You are, owner operator. Okay, we have the 8 machines level that is, is the minimum that we ask for. Then, if you would like a semi-absentee one, we could have a 12 or 20 machines level. That is also, more income that allows you to have maybe a manager or something like that they can, do the job. And of course, we have also for larger investors that 24 or 40 machines that even in that case we can talk about a bigger territory.
Sure.
Okay, for bigger investor we could also talk about a master franchise or multi-unit area that we like the best. The multi-units is more flexible and they have more capacity to do business, but we are open to any proposal for even for larger investor, of course. Yes.
Sure, that's a really good point. And then you brought up territory. So regardless of the level, you have some territory protection.
When we sign a franchise, we negotiate a territory, exclusive territory for the franchisee.
Okay.
Nobody can go there to meet with Mr. Cappuccino Franchise. So,
Okay.
but we like to do at the beginning together with the franchisee to study the territory that he wants, because we want to be sure that they have enough restaurants, enough offices, enough corporate buildings, enough healthcare location, hospital, college, enough to grow. Okay, we are thinking here in 5, 10, 15 years, not only the next 2 or 3 years. We are thinking in growing the business. Maybe in 5 years, starting with 8. Maybe in 5 years they can have 20, 24. Now we're talking about income. Now we're talking about the manager. Now we're talking about semi-absentee.
Sure.
Now we're talking about, I don't like to say that, but passive income generator, passive, we have to be careful with that, but because
Sure.
you always have to be there, in your business.
What advice would you give someone who wants to start a business but doesn't know where to begin?
Listen, the first thing that I would recommend is to talk to this nonprofit organization that they guide new entrepreneur to do the things right. Because you waste much time learning, trying to do things in the way that is not correct, is not right. So there are many organizations that they guide you, the legal part, the accounting and all that you can start, well, comply with all the laws and no penalties, please.
Sure.
Okay, so and after that, maybe have a conversation with Mr. Cappuccino to see if they have available territory or something like that in the place that we could do something to help them. But the first thing is the most important, not go along with the blind, not talk to somebody that knows the market, is locally there, and they can guide you.
For individuals who are just starting now and they probably don't have a lot of capital, would they be able to finance a portion? Are there associations available to help?
Yes, we have some third-party companies that are specialized in financing franchising, so they know what is the business about. And we also have for person that already have a company that they would like to diversify in other kind of business, we could also get some kind of finance for the machine. Okay, it's a different finance. It's a lease to own. I don't know if you are familiar with that. That we can arrange to do the part of the machines to do it in that with that figure that we could also offer to them.
Yeah, explain it to us. The lease to own process.
Well, it's a tool that some lenders have that you lease the equipment and you pay a monthly fee for that equipment that include the value of the equipment and the interest rate. And then at the end of the period, the equipment is yours and you don't pay anything else. The last payment is your last payment for the equipment. So after 48 or 60 months, that equipment is your property.
They don't have to put up all the money up front to do so.
Right. Lender pays to us and then we
Mhm.
send the machine to the franchisees.
And you help organize all of this if that's what they
Yes,
need?
sure, of course. Yes, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Not in the part of the no the classic financial because these companies, they have a special they see the profile, depending on the profile come the amount, the rate and all that. But so we don't touch that part.
Nelson, who should be contacting you right now?
Anyone that wants a business that you don't need rent, you don't need employees, you can have recurring income next week. So listen, if this is a proven system, I cannot promise you that you are not going to work. No, you are going to work. Everybody has to work. So that's something that. But once you get the direction, hey, listen, this everybody's once you start your first machine, and I tell you because it was like that, everybody can speak about Mr. Cappuccino. And word of mouth is the best marketing tool.
Sure.
Once we started seeing, where do you get that machine? "Ah, it's Mr. Cappuccino, Mr. Cappuccino, Mr. Cappuccino." And then at the beginning, it has to be like that.
Of course. Yeah. And I'm sure people who may be interested in the master franchise systems and then also investors who might want to invest in these types of business processes.
Yes, of course, of course. We can also have a call. We can have a meeting. I can travel whatever you want. What always I would like is that people try our coffee first.
Hmm.
That's something that once they try, say, "Oh wow, what is it?" Okay, that's the product. That's the product.
Sure.
So you are sure that you have a good product, so you can go anywhere because you know that you have the best coffee in town. Many people say that.
Now that this individual finally says, okay, I need to make that change, does it cost anything to just give you a call and have a chat about whether franchising it works for them or not?
Well, yes, they can go through our webpage and there we can make an appointment. Go there in the contact page, you leave your information and we establish an appointment and we can show you everything. We can show you number, we can show you projection. The only thing that we cannot invite you is cappuccino virtually, but
Yeah.
some- but someday you will try. So that's the idea. Triple www.mrcappuccinofranchise.com. Cappuccino, double P and double C.
Excellent. Thank you so much for the time and for all the information. I'm looking forward to a cup of coffee.
Well, let's do it as soon as we can. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for everything.
You're welcome. Thanks everyone for listening. If this episode has inspired you, share it with someone who needs it. And don't forget to follow the Glovisor Podcast for more conversations on leadership, communication, resilience, business growth, and personal development. Till the next time.